There are so many ways one can do sidechain and way more tutorials on YouTube on the same subject. It can be confusing, but it also doesn't have to be. So let's have a look at it now. What's up everyone, I'm ReOrder and I've been making trance music for over 25 years. I've played Tomorrowland, Transmission, released on Armada, FSOE and many other labels. And in all that time, the one thing I see producers misunderstand more than anything else is sidechain compression. Not because they're bad producers, but because every tutorial just shows you stick a compressor on the bass, route the kick to the sidechain input and done. There is way more to it. Today, I'm going to show you how I do it in my own tracks. Also, we're going to cover a bit of history, because understanding where this technique came from might actually help you understand it better. So here's a fun bit of history most producers don't know. Sidechain compression wasn't invented for music at all. It was actually invented for film. In the 1930s, a sound engineer at MGM named Douglas Shearer had a problem where actors' dialogue was full of harsh S's and sh sounds, which messed up the whole audio. He needed a way to tame them, and he needed this to be automatic. So he split the audio into two paths, one through a compressor, one through an EQ that isolated only the harsh frequencies. And he fed that filtered signal back into the compressor's detector. The compressor only ducked the audio when those harsh sounds appeared. He basically invented a de-esser before de-essers existed. And that was the birth of sidechain compression, because he used a signal to duck the other signal by a signal with a signal. Fast forward to the late 90s, Daft Punk and other producers took actual sidechain compression and used it super creatively. That pumping, breathing sound where everything ducks around the kick, that created the whole French house signature sound. And here's the best part. Daft Punk made their early tracks using a compressor that cost like $200, while everyone was convinced they must be using some magical expensive hardware. Nope, just a cheap compressor and a lot of taste. So that tells you that you can achieve anything if you really want to. Then in 2004, sidechain compression basically went crazy in pop culture. Remember Eric Prydz and his track Call on Me? It went to #1 in the UK and like 8 other countries. And that recognizable pumping effect that everything was ducking around the kick, suddenly everybody wanted to do just that sound. Now in trance we also incorporate sidechain, but we use it a bit differently. We don't always want that huge obvious pump. At least not on everything. Sometimes we want precision. Sometimes we want just enough space for the kick to breathe. Since we are here for mainly how to set it up, let's open Ableton and let's do it. I truly think you need to understand this before we get to the fancy stuff. When I do use a compressor, I go harsh. Ask my wife. I'm talking about compressing the bass almost all the way down during the kick hit. Look at this waveform. See how the kick and bass are fighting for space? Now watch what happens when I apply the harsh sidechain. Night and day. The kick sits right alongside the bass instead of fighting it. And the beautiful thing is, it doesn't sound pumping. It sounds like a well-mixed track. Now, how do I make this so it sounds so good? I'm going to get a bit nerdy, so bear with me. I promise it's worth it. I always measure the exact 116 note duration in milliseconds for whatever BPM I'm working at, and I use that as my release time. My attack as close to 0 as possible. Ableton actually shows you this right here in the bottom left corner. Just select the 116 note in a session view, and it tells you exact duration in milliseconds. No guessing, no magic numbers, just pure math. If you're asking, does it really matter if my release is 100 or 108? And the answer is no, not really, but if you care about how the flow of your track is, then it does. It's a difference between sidechain that breathes with the rhythm and the one that's slightly off. And your subconscious can hear it, even if your brain can't. Next critical setting, detection mode. You've got a peak and RMS. Now, in theory, peak mode is perfect for this because it responds to the actual transient of the kick. But there's a thing. In Ableton's compressor specifically, peak with very fast attack can sometimes introduce clicks. Some producers actually prefer RMS because it's smoother. I use peak, otherwise my sidechain won't be as smooth. And here's a pro tip that took me years to figure out. I only feed the high end of my kick into the sidechain, so I only get that click in. I high pass it around 800 Hz. So I'm only getting the click transient, not the whole bassy part. This gives me a super clean, smooth sidechain curve. Just listen to the difference. Full kick signal. It's a bit wobbly and I just don't like it. It's not smooth. Now let's use the high pass 800. And you can hear this. This is clean, tight, and musical. Of course, you can go nuclear and set the release to 1 millisecond with the threshold all the way down. Then however long your click is, that will be the length of your ducking. You get a super hard sidechain that crushes the signal almost out of existence. Can be very useful in some cases though. Okay, and here is a little confession. I don't use Ableton's compressor for sidechaining most of the time. I know, I just spent 5 minutes showing you how to use it, but you needed to understand the principles first. The truth is, Ableton's stock compressor can give you clicks even if you try to make it smooth, especially with these extreme settings. And in a situation where you just have a kick and some smooth sustained filtered sound like a pad, those little clicks are suddenly very obvious. So most of the time I reach for volume shapers instead. Also, if I need to separate kick and bass, it's just not very precise, and and sometimes you just have to separate them. So just load an LFO tool on your channel, select Sidechain 1 and move the top right corner a bit to the right. In most cases this works like a charm, but there is one important thing. Ableton is buggy and it adds latency from the plugins you add before, which will move your signal. For example, linear phase EQ. Look at that, it can make it sound a bit awkward. But there is a quick workaround. We will use LFO Tool in a MIDI trigger. And once you build this once, you can save it as a template and never think about it again. Here's the routing. Create an instrument rack with an external instrument inside. Nothing is actually playing through it. It's just there to send a signal to LFO Tool. I create a MIDI that plays exactly 1/4 of a bar or 1 beat to simulate the kick as the trig source and send it to the channel where my LFO Tool is. Make sure to remember this one, because you can use this with any volume shaper for some more precision. Then in the LFO tool, I switch on MIDI trigger mode, and boom! Now I have a perfect sidechain, no matter the latency, and I can use it in any MIDI pattern I want. By the way, you can do the same thing with Shaperbox or Kickstart. But for Kickstart, I love using my kick as audio input, and this will make sure my sidechain is perfectly sitting on a grid. Maybe in future, Ableton will fix the issue and we can just simply make music without making unnecessary routings. Ableton, if you hear this, please fix it. So quick rundown on which tool for which situation. If I need a sidechain super fast, like I'm just sketching out the idea and I don't want to think about routing, I grab Kickstart. 2 clicks, done. Just a heads up, it can give you some clicks. If I need surgical precision, LFO tool is my go-to. I use the preset called Sidechain 1 and pull the top right corner tiny bit to the left to smooth out the curve. And that kills any clicks. Shaperbox is also great for precision, but I've noticed it sometimes drops my volume when there is no MIDI or audio input if I use them as a trigger. It doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, I go mental. Like, if anyone knows why this is happening, please comment below and let me know why, because it's been bugging me for months. Like, seriously, I tried everything. Okay, now let me give you a cheat sheet so you can screenshot this and pin it to your studio wall. If you're using a compressor, attack as close to 0 as possible. Release set to exactly 1/16 note duration in milliseconds given your BPM. Turn on the peak detection mode and high pass your sidechain input at 800 Hz. Then set your threshold to your desired value. If you're using volume shapers, LFO tool with MIDI trigger for precision, Kickstart with kick audio trigger for speed, and always smooth out those curves to avoid clicks. And the most important takeaway, sidechain in trance is not about pumping. It's about creating space. It's a mixing tool, not an effect. The best sidechain is the one nobody notices. Unless you're making French house. Then pump it like it's hot. Go try it out and let me know what you like more, compressor or volume shapers. And what's your go-to sidechain trick? I read every single comment and I always learn something from you guys too. If you want to see exactly how I build an entire track from scratch in like 57 minutes, check out this video. And if you want to learn something about trance melodies, check this video. But before you go, remember, sidechain compression was invented because Hollywood actors couldn't say the letter S. And we're just here standing on the shoulders of a 1930s sound engineer who was really annoyed by that. Thanks for watching, I'm ReOrder, and I'll see you for the next one. Ciao.